Hi, everyone. Today we are going to be doing lesson 5.2, and 5.2 is all about completing bank reconciliations. So, our objectives for today are to complete a bank statement reconciliation and to record and journalize a bank service charge. So, this is a look at a bank statement. And what a bank statement is a report of all the deposits, withdrawals, and bank balances sent to a depositor by its bank. So, you should get these either mailed to you or sent to you electronically every single month. And it says all of the different transactions that occurred as per the bank. However, this is not always what is accurate as far as how much you have available to you. And so, because of that, we need to indicate all of the different items that have occurred on the bank statement and compare it to your personal records. One thing that we're going to specifically look for, in addition to deposits and withdrawals, are canceled checks. Now, canceled checks are checks that you wrote and then have also been cashed. Some people confuse canceled checks with voided checks. Voided checks we learned about in the last section. Voided checks are checks that you started to write and you made a mistake on and that you ripped up and threw away. A canceled check is a check that has been cashed. It's important to know the difference between the two. So, like I said, sometimes a bank's records and your records are going to be different, and these are the reasons why that could happen. Number one, a service charge may not have been recorded in your personal business records. Number two, outstanding deposits may be recorded in your records but not in a bank statement. So, for example, you possibly, went to the bank, made a deposit, came home, got either delivered electronically or to your mailbox your bank statement. That deposit that you just made isn't going to show up. Also, outstanding checks may be recorded in your records but not on the bank statement. So, for example, if you wrote a check but the person you wrote it to didn't cash it yet, that's not going to show up on your bank statement. And then errors occur all the time. So, that could also be a reason for errors. Um, so, one thing before I dive into this slide that I want to say is a lot of times people just rely on their banking apps or electronic bank statements, um, or to see exactly how much they have available to them, but you can't do that because you run the risk of over withdrawing your account. And when that occurs, there's tons of fees that are involved because of all of the things that you that could be outstanding. And so it is super important to do a bank reconciliation. Okay. So, before the reconciliation, these are the steps that you need to take. First of all, you need to compare your bank statement to your check register, your check stubs, your Excel sheet, like your personal records. And then you put check marks next to everything that matches. And then that means that the transaction has been processed or the check has been canceled. But anything that doesn't have a check next to it is outstanding. And that's the information that you need to add to your personal records, or account for not showing up in your bank statement to see how much money you actually have available to you. So, the first step in completing a bank reconciliation is to put the date, and these forms are actually on the back of your bank statement. So, even if it's delivered to you electronically, if you print it out, this form will still be there for you. Okay, and it might not look exactly like this, but it still provides the same function. So, you're going to start off putting the date, then the check stub balance, so how much it says in your records. Check stub, Excel sheet, check register, whatever you use, this is how much it says you have available to you. Then you're going to look on your bank statement. Anything that doesn't have a check is outstanding, and usually they're going to be service charges. So you would put the service charges here, and then you would subtract these two numbers. So 2,622 minus 25 is going to give you $2,597. Next, you move on to the opposite side. So you're going to start with the balance on your bank statement. Then you're going to list any outstanding deposits. So list them all here, add them together, and put the total here. There's only one here, so we would just copy the same amount. You would add these two together. Okay, so add these two together. Then you are going to list any outstanding checks. Add these together and put the total here. And then you're going to take this amount, subtract to give you your adjusted bank balance. Notice that these two amounts match. That is the amount that you ultimately have available to you. That's how much the bank said you had available to you. That's how much your records said you had available to you. But this is how much you actually have available to you. And that is why it's so important for you to do a bank reconciliation. Now, when there's a service charge, you also need to record the service charge in your personal records because that didn't show up previously. So again, you do it on your check stub, your your check stub, your Excel spreadsheet, your check register, whatever you use. So for the check stub, you would just write service charge. You would write the amount of the service charge, so 25, and then you would just subtract these two numbers to give you the subtotal. But not only do you have to record this in your records, you also have to journalize it in the general journal. We would probably call this just a miscellaneous expense because hopefully bank service charges don't occur too often. So you're going to write the date, you would debit miscellaneous expense, credit cash, and then our source document for this situation would be a memorandum.